What's good everyone, I'm Raid, welcome back on my channel. In today's video, I want to show you how to make art beats, and I got some really fire plugin to show you guys so you can make better melodies for your beats. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new, and leave a like down here if you're going to like the video or the beat, and maybe a comment too, letting me know which kind of video do you want to see next on this channel. So that's everything for me. Let's start with a breakdown now. I started my melody with one of those plugins I was talking about in the intro. So this is called Obsession. It's from this Synapse company, and I've been using this plugin a lot recently because it has a lot of cool sounds that are not always the same from Analog Lab or Omnisphere. This is the preset I used in this melody, and this is the pattern I came up with. So as you can see, I used the root note as the foundation of this melody. I just picked different octaves for it. So the C3, the C4, the C5, and then I placed some other notes, as for example, this G5 here, which is the fifth note in the scale. So as I told you before, guys, if you use the root note and then the fifth note in the scale, it's always gonna sound really good. So this is basically just the root note, as I told you, and the G on different octaves as well. It is a pretty repetitive pattern until here, where it actually changed a bit. So I just moved the G to the G sharp and added this D sharp and D sharp 5 to the chord progression. As far as effects on this sound, I just have a parametric EQ to cut out the low ends. For the next element in this melody, I wanted some more higher frequencies, so you just pick the preset from Analog Lab and lay down this really simple melody. As you can see, I used the D sharp, which I used before in the chord progression as well. Then I placed another note 1 semitones down to create a bit of tension in this melody. Then I took the root note and layered it with another note in the scale, in this case F, and then the G again, which, as I told you before, it's a fifth note in the scale, and this is pretty much copy and pasted over throughout the whole thing. I just put some effects on it, which was a parametric EQ to cut out the low ends, a portal, and some reverb as well with the Valhalla Vintage Verb plugin. I actually ended up rendering this melody, so this is what it sounds like normally. I just have another version of it, which is 1 octave down, and I let it play throughout the intro. The next sound I picked for this sample was actually from Xenology, which I've been using a lot recently as well. This is the preset I chose, and this is the melody I came up with. So I just placed the root note and the fifth note as well. Here I did the same thing, but I switched this note up from G to G sharp. So again, 1 semitones to create more tension. And here I just placed the fifth note all over and changed these two notes, which, as you can see, are just 1 semitones apart as well. In the second part, it's just repeated over. And as you could probably hear from the sound itself, I added some effects on it. It was another parametric EQ to cut out the low ends. Then this filter from the Moog company, which sounds really good, guys, if you want to try it out for yourself. Then another instance of Portal from the Output company. And then, again, some reverb. We are coming to an end for the melody, guys. This is the last element I added, which is just the usual church bell with these effects applied. So some reverb and then some delay tape 201 from the Arturia bundle. This is the usual stuff, guys, so nothing special, to be honest. And then I added another element which plays just throughout the intro. This is a bass. As you may know, guys, I really like to let play some kind of synth bass throughout the intro and then switch it up to an 808 for the drum pattern, so that my low frequencies throughout the beat are different and interesting. So this is the pattern with the synth bass. I'm telling you guys, never underestimate the power of synth bass. This sounds really full frequencies wise, and it's important to have it if you want to achieve a much more professional sound. So now I'm gonna actually let you hear the final melody all together. It actually sounds really good to me, guys. I think it has a lot of rhythm and bounce. So now we are just needing some hard hitting drums to finish this beat. As always, guys, if you want to use the same sound I use in this video, you can find it in my drum kit, which is called the Opera Drum Kit, and you can find it in the first link in my description. It's a really affordable kit, but it has all the sounds you need to start making industry level beats. So if you want to hit your first or next placement, you know where to find what you need. So let's start with the drums now. I always start my drum pattern with the 808, and I honestly think my 808 pattern just went to the next level when I understood that you need to leave space for the artist to rap on. So you don't want to have some crazy pattern with a lot of slides or roll in every part of your pattern. Sure, those things can help you make more interesting pattern, but I would suggest you to use it like at the end of the 4th or the 8th bar, so that it keeps the beat interesting and not boring, but it doesn't come up as too much for the artist when it's gonna try to rap on your beat. So yeah, this is my pattern for this beat. It's just following the root note and using the 5th note at the end. As I told you guys, really simple and briefing pattern. If you use some of the usual spin set 8 as the one you can find in my drum kit, which is already processed to hit hard in your mix, then you're ready to go. You just need to play some notes here and there, some variation at the end of the pattern, and you're good to go. So the next element I always layer with my 808 is actually a kick. So this is the same pattern as for the 808. I just removed the variation at the end of each 4 bars. And this is another really punchy and hard-hitting drum sound. So it complements really well with the 808 I just showed you. This is the pattern. I actually just sidechain the kick to the 808 with a fruity limiter, so that when the kick plays, it actually cuts through the mix of the 808, has a lot of punch, and then it let play the lower frequencies and the body of your 808s. After the lower frequencies drums, I went along with the snare. I actually laid down the basic pattern with this snare. Just the basic stuff to set the bounce of the beat, because I actually had some kind of accent and rolls with another snare, which is the zip one in my drum kit. I actually always use this snare to create my bounce in the drum pattern, so that's what it sounds like. So I just copy and pasted over the simple basic pattern from the other snare, and then I added 2 notes here. Then I added the 1 little note here after the 3rd main snare, and another one just a bit later, create some kind of different bounce. Then another main snare note, and here some kind of rolls going a bit up in the velocity and actually lower just a second later. I copy and pasted the pattern over. I just changed the roll here. I made the first one longer and going down, and then I placed another bounce note here just to kind of let the pattern fades into the next one. And that was everything for my snare. So I just continued with my hi-hat. In this case, I just went on and clicked fill each 2-step with my hi-hat. Then I created some rolls and accent 1 octave down, and then I took off some notes at the end of the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th bar, just to create a different bounce from the usual beat. And this is what the pattern sounds like. As you could hear while listening to the hi-hat pattern, the silence of the note that I took off was actually anticipating the next note. So that's a really key thing in music. You can create a lot of tension with just some silence. Sometimes maybe try to let the sound breathe a bit and then let it come back just a bit later. I think that's gonna help you make more bouncy beat and arrangement in general. So after the hi-hat, I just placed the anti-flash open hat from my drum kit, which is actually a reversed open hat. I actually left a MIDI for this particular sound, which is going to place a note right here, as you can see, and this is going to complement your open hat pattern. It's just going to make the whole thing glue together and kind of fades into the next part. I just like to add 1 more note here and turn the velocity to 0 with the cut itself feature turned on, so that it actually plays for as much as I want to and not more. So this is what it sounds like. It's really subtle, but it makes a lot of difference in your bounce. The tiny details you add to your drum pattern are going to be that key thing to achieve much more groovy beats. And after that kind of reversed open hat, I just laid down a simple one just on the 1st note and then following the 808 notes basically. So this is what it sounds like. Remember to play with the velocity of your open head to achieve a much more interesting sound. I'm actually going to let you hear the final drum pattern all together now. Remember to check the first link in the description for my drum kit if you like the sound and want to use it in your next beat. The next step to finish the beat was actually some arranging. As I told you in the beginning, I just copied this track over and put it down 1 octave for the intro. I also have the synth bass playing throughout the intro and nowhere else. Then I added my tag and 2 risers actually with some reverb on it. And that's everything for the beat. So I want to thank you guys for watching and stick with me until the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss the next tutorial I'm gonna make. Leave a like down here if you like the video or the beat, and maybe a comment too. Let me know what do you think about this beat. That's everything for me, so I'm gonna let you hear the final product now. Thank you guys. I'm out. Peace.